Hey, welcome to Let's Grow Together with Kalyan, Shruti and Richa. ये पॉडकास्ट सीरीज बनाया ही गया है टू लर्न फ्रॉम द इंडस्ट्री एक्सपर्ट्स. ये ट्विटर स्पेस सीरीज को पॉडकास्ट में कन्वर्ट किया गया है सो एवरीथिंग इज रॉ एंड अनफिल्टर्ड. You will hear the audience asking questions to the guest as well. कि ये podcast series is going to be super insightful. So come with an open mind and I promise you बहुत कुछ सीखने मिलेगा. So let's start the podcast in 3, 2, 1. Hello, and welcome to the fourth episode of Let's Grow Together Season 2. And आज का टॉपिक थोड़ा इंटेंस है और it was a super demanding topic and the topic name is how to deal with negativity with Vinita Dalal. Uh, but before I go towards the amazing guest that we have, but let me quickly say hi to Richa and Shruti. Starting with Shruti. Shruti कैसा चल रहा है सब कुछ and बैंगलोर की गर्मी कैसी है? Good, bad or ugly?
It's good. It's good. It's exciting. Like we don't expect what is going to happen next, and काफी surprising है सब कुछ यहाँ पे. कुछ पता नहीं होता कभी बारिश होती है कभी ठंड कभी गर्मी. So yeah, adventurous life. Where are you, Kalyan, nowadays? Like which city are you in? Like you're traveling a lot recently, right?
Yeah. So I'm at Ludhiana,
अच्छा.
मेरी दीदी के घर पे,
Mm-hmm.
and tomorrow we all are going to Shimla. So
Amazing.
yeah, it's a family outing.
या
Yeah,
मतलब लुधियाना में at this
yes.
point of time I think काफी ज्यादा गर्मी होगी तो शिमला जाना
गर्मी
definitely
तो है.
the best idea.
Yeah, गर्मी तो है, काफी गर्मी है.
Right. So Rita, how are
हाँ.
you?
आई एम गुड. मैं विनीता को वही बोल रही थी कि कल फ्राइडे है एंड फाइनली वी हैव वीकेंड. तो या आई एम रियली गुड. एंड वेदर इज वेरी अनप्रिडिक्टेबल. इतनी गर्मी है ना, आज इतनी गर्मी है, मैं रोस्ट हो गई हूँ सच में. इट इज लाइक सो हॉट एंड 2 दिन पहले बारिश हो रही थी. तो वेदर इज सो अनप्रिडिक्टेबल, बट या आई हैव वीकेंड सो आई एम हैप्पी नाउ.
Okay, so like you have some plans for the weekend or matlab weather might stay the same probably, so you are excited for the weekend?
I'll sleep, Shruti. That is my weekend plan. I will sleep.
Okay, great.
That is an amazing plan यार, सच बताओ तो. वैसे रिचा ये बताओ कि इस बार स्ट्रेस कम था इस वीक में काम का?
हाँ, इस बार तो काफी कम था. मतलब मैं सो रही थी, पता है, बीच में ऑफिस के, क्योंकि मुझे समझ ही नहीं आ रहा था. मैंने इनफैक्ट ट्वीट भी किया था कि स्लीपिंग इन ऑफिस आवर्स इज सो गुड. दिस वीक आई डिड नॉट वर्क सो मच, बट इट वाज हेक्टिक बट इट वाज फाइन. अच्छा वीक था.
अच्छा, तो इस वीक में व्हाट वाज योर हाईलाइट? लाइक वीक का हाईलाइट क्या था that cheered you up? It could be work में कुछ ऐसा कुछ something that happened with you.
नहीं, ऐसा तो कुछ भी नहीं था यार. मतलब मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा है ना, मेरा दिन रिपीट हो रहा है. मतलब एवरी डे सेम थिंग हैपन. आई वेक अप, आई वर्क, आई स्लीप. बस उसको रिपीट हो रहा है. आई डोंट नो हाउ टू एक्सप्लेन इट. पर इट इज जस्ट रिपीटिंग. तो अभी तक तो नथिंग स्पेशल दैट वे.
I don't know. Is it midlife crisis जो थोड़ा सा जल्दी आ गया? ऐसा होता है क्या? I don't know
अरे
यार.
आप
I
बूढ़ा
I
बूढ़ा फील. आई फील
I don't know यार. ऐसे ही होता है ना. I don't know जिसको हुआ है. मतलब मुझे थोड़ा बहुत तो लगा था that the day keeps repeating itself and nothing new is happening. But I feel that's what it is. I don't know.
मे बी.
So let me just start, and I'll start with the introduction of Vinita. So basically, all about our amazing guest. So she is basically an army veteran, a public speaker, corporate trainer, and she also talks about growth. So if you are on LinkedIn, you must have come across her profile and page, and that is Vinita ji. Welcome, Vinita ji. This is your first Twitter space, and I can see that you struggled a little. But are you excited about the space?
Yes, I'm very excited, Kalyan, and thank you for that introduction. I'm thrilled to be here. And just to add, I'm also the co founder of my soft skills company, Life Extraordinaire, where we carry out corporate trainings and also one on one mentoring.
Lovely. So I will start the space, but before I do that, I remember asking you about your tattoo during our video discovery call
Yeah,
that we did couple of weeks ago, right? And I want to ask you, क्या आप हमेशा से टैटू बनाना चाहते थे? And because you were in army, you could not make it, and of course, you weren't allowed to do that. But you put aside your interest and waited for so long. Is it something that was just with the tattoo, or something other than that? Like बहुत सारी चीजें जो आपने साइड में रखी just because you were in the army. Do you want to
Uh,
talk about this?
I don't think like that. It's just that, army is a very disciplined force, and after all, you're leading troops, and it is all about how you conduct yourself, and that is how you gain respect. And this is something which was, of course, not allowed in the army. And so when I hung my uniform, this was the first thing that I got done because I had been wanting to get it done for a very long time. So yes, and I will definitely be going in for one or two more tattoos.
Wow. And you mentioned about the discipline and everything.
Yeah.
I just want to know, what does a typical day in your life looks like diet and exercise, and what time do you get up? Everything. If you can just start with your day.
Yeah, sure. Uh, well, this is a ritual that I have been following for many years now, Kalyan, and it has done wonders for me. What I do is I always kickstart my day with a prayer of gratitude. And the first thing in the morning when my feet touch the ground, which is around like 5:30, thanks to my army way of life, I take a deep breath, close my eyes, and thank God for the beautiful, great day I'm going to have. I visualize that the day is mine and I'm blessed to make a difference today. After that, I wake up my two cute little monsters. We are blessed with twins. Then I pack them off to school. Then there's another very important ritual that I follow, that is having tea with my husband. Because this is very important us time before the madness of the day takes over. Then, of course, I go for my gym. That I'd like to mix it up a bit. So it's like strength training, yoga, swimming, functional training, or Zumba. Basically, the idea is to take out that 1 hour for myself, my body. My diet, of course, is maximum protein intake and minimum carbs, home cooked meals. But yes, Saturday or Sunday, दोनों में से एक दिन या मे बी कई बार दोनों दिन भी हो जाता है चीट डे मील्स. And then it is followed by meetings, training sessions, brainstorming sessions with my team. I work till about 3 p.m. because after that, my kids come back from school. Evenings are reserved for family until unless I have some official commitment. Then, before sleeping, I write in my gratitude journal. I do my visualization exercise and thank the universe. So, in effect, I start my day with positivity and end my day with positivity. I ensure that I'm consciously feeding my subconscious mind with positive thoughts, because this is something which I learned over the years, that gratitude is something you must have before you can receive, not something that you simply do after something good has happened. So yes, that's my routine.
That is amazing. So, Vinita, what I want to know is कि जैसे मेरी एक बहुत बुरी हैबिट है, which is कि मैं उठते ही अपना फ़ोन उठा लेता हूँ, which I'm trying to not do it, but you know, I somehow trick my brain into believing that I'm working, but ऐसा नहीं है. Um, so how addicted are you to your phone?
I would lie if I say that I'm not addicted, because nowadays, every all your work is on the phone, right? But yes, I make a conscious decision not to touch my phone till the time my entire morning routine is done, and after that, I pick up my phone. So that is conscious detoxification I try to do.
Okay, uh, that makes sense. So, Shruti, you wanna take over?
I am extremely sorry. I'm having facing some internet issue, I guess, because
No issues, no issues. Yeah.
okay. So, Vinita, I would like to ask you about your experiences and learnings, because this is something I'm very curious to know about. Like, how have been you have like so many years of experience working into army, and especially women's. When I meet these women like you, it is very inspiring to have communication, so that I can learn like how was your life and what kind of experiences you have been through, so that we can also understand and learn from that. If you would like to share something.
Yeah, sure, Shruti. Well, let me tell you, I'm a proud third generation army officer. So I have grown up in these beautiful cantonments of the army, and I was so inspired, by the way of life कि बचपन से ही ना वो एक सपना था कि अगर कुछ करना है तो आर्मी में ही जाना है, आर्मी ऑफिसर ही बनना है. So, army is a dream many see, but a few live. So I was lucky and I broke the glass ceiling and overcame barriers because I was one of the first few hundred women officers to be commissioned in the Indian Army. And over the years, 2 decades plus, in fact, of my career, I have led many cross functional teams of different people from different backgrounds. And I have learned a lot. But some of the most important learnings, which I talk about during my corporate training sessions also, are that first, leaders can turn the tide of the events. Second, team building is a very slow process because each member has to be nurtured, and but the dividends are exceptional. Then frank and fair, open two-way communication, that is very central to the success of any team. Then you have to have the ability to foresee change, and preparing for change, ensures that you survive. Another thing that I have learned is be humane and respectful, irrespective of your status in life. You might be a general, you might be a leader, or you might be a CEO, but you have to be humane and respectful. And of course, this may sound cliched, but hard work always pays. Then, army officers, army moves officers, trains officers into leaders and capable of leading from the front in any field. And this has taught me discipline, courage, commitment, and punctuality, which is helping me till date. And finally, ownership of the task and ownership of your team. That is really important. So, these have been some very important learnings of my army life, which now I'm teaching to the corporate world too.
Okay, that is quite amazing to be honest, Vinita. One question that I have is, as a kid, आपने ऐसा क्या देखा around yourself या अपनी family में that made you believe कि नहीं, I want to do this, I want to live this life. Of course, it has a lot of ups and downs, and you know how hard it is. But even though you were aware of it, uh, how do you have convinced yourself कि नहीं मुझे ये करना है, and what really made you do this? Childhood में ऐसा क्या ऐसा हुआ that made you decide कि नहीं, I want to do this?
Kalyan, my father is also from the army. So बचपन से ही ना हमने वो देखा है that he getting up in the morning, wearing his uniform, shining stars on the shoulder, wherever he's going, that authority, that salute, that respect. And after every 2.5 to 3 years, we would move to a new location, learn new things, new language. And the kind of ecosystem that you have in the army, that kind of family feeling that you have in the army is so amazing and unique that I don't think we find it anywhere else. And that was something which really drew me to that I have to get into army only. And I was, frankly speaking, I have always been a leader, right from school onwards. I was always the monitor. When I came to the college, I became secretary of the student union, and I was into NCC. I have NCCC certificate holder. So I have always been into leadership. I am very extrovert. And this was something which that uniform always, that charm of the uniform always drew me. So I can't even tell you, the first time I wore my lieutenant's uniform with the stars on my shoulder, oh my god, that feeling is completely incomparable to anything else. So that's what it is.
Mm. And Vinita, because my father is in paramilitary, तो हम लोग का भी काफी ट्रांसफर होता रहता था, and I used to always be that person जो एकदम स्कूल में एकदम एंड में आता है, क्लास में एकदम एंड में आता है, and मिड में मुझे ज्वाइन करना पड़ता था. I used to
Hmm.
struggle a lot because केंद्रीय विद्यालय से केंद्रीय विद्यालय, I'm going transfer and everything. Have you been in such a situation, and how do you tackled it? Like you described how you were the the leader, and uh, you were quite extrovert, and somehow how did you manage to do all of these things?
Kalyan, see, it is a little tough. Initially, of course, it is tough because by the time you establish yourself in the school, it is time to move on. जब तक आपको टीचर्स पहचानने लगते हैं एंड यू मेक अ मार्क फॉर योर सेल्फ इन द स्कूल, आपके फ्रेंड्स बनते हैं, तब तक फिर अगेन इट्स टाइम टू मूव ऑन. But somehow I feel that it has taught me to adapt very fast. It has taught me to make friends very fast. And it has helped me, and I can actually deal with every and any situation I feel. And yes, studies थोड़ी suffer तो करती हैं, but then I feel that once you have reached a particular level, like when we were in ninth or 10th, I guess, then we were at one particular place because our parents wanted us to have those 3-4 years of good education and stability before we launch ourselves into the career world.
That's great. Richa, you want to take the next question?
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
Vinita, when you were saying this thing that you wore your first uniform and with all those stars, and it just gave me this big smile, and I can feel how proud you must be and your parents must be. And like, this is so wholesome. I just love that part. So, like, my next question from you is that, like, there is so much of negativity around. So, do you think there's something mindfulness gives some boost to it, or it is actually helpful when it comes to negativity, or is practicing mindfulness effective in dealing with negativity? What are your thoughts on it?
It's a very interesting question, Richa. Uh, but let's understand what is mindfulness. Mindfulness is like it's being fully present and engaged in the present moment, and that too without judgment or any distraction. And when you're present and aware, it helps you us to change our negative thought pattern. And I feel mindfulness is also about recognizing a thought as just a thought. You don't give that much of importance to a thought, and then should take a pause and ask ourselves whether we really want to be hooked to this thought or not. Because when we are mindful, we learn to observe our thoughts and feelings with greater clarity, and then you can see which direction they are going in. एंड जब आपको लगता है कि एक नेगेटिव थॉट आपके दिमाग में एंटर करने वाला है, यू कैन अनहुक योर सेल्फ फ्रॉम दीज थॉट्स, एंड देन वी कैन चूज टू रिस्पॉन्ड इन अ मोर कंस्ट्रक्टिव एंड पॉजिटिव वे, आई फील. So when we start noticing, I think the best thing is first you pause and ask if these thoughts are truly helpful. Then you begin to choose. And when we start to notice how many of our daily thoughts are negative, we can begin to intentionally shift our focus. और ये मैं आपको पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस से बता रही हूँ, बिकॉज दिस आई हैव बीन practicing very intentionally for a lot many years now. And you know that neurologists claim that every time you resist negative emotions and choose positive ones, you're actually rewiring your brain to be more positive and loving. And after all, the less you respond to negativity, the more peaceful your life becomes, isn't it?
Yeah, truly, completely agree.
And as a thought-provoking question, like which I have for this space, I would like to ask you, like Vinita, how do you prioritize your self-care in day-to-day life, including taking care of your physical and emotional needs as well?
Uh, like, uh, uh, you know, I would say that, raising children takes up a lot of time, energy, and headspace. And then coupled with a full time profession, well, it's a different level altogether. And in all this, taking out that much needed me time is very essential, else I'd actually be running on fumes. So, when I take care of myself, whether it's exercising or going to a spa, eating healthy, or reading a book, or just catching up with friends, then I feel recharged to take life head on. After all, the most important relationship is the one which you have with yourself. And, Richa, I strongly feel that caring for myself is not self indulgence, it is actually self preservation. So, you really need to do that.
Right. So,
Hmm.
would you like to share any tips or strategies, Vinita, you may have for practicing self-care effectively, which can help others as well?
Yeah, sure. Uh, Firstly, I always say that, when you are doing practicing self care, you have to look after yourself, eat healthy, you know, sleep well, exercise well, read good books. That is how you actually, energize yourself with good thoughts. And one of the most important things I feel is that consume good, positive media. Because in today's day and age, the kind of news that we are surrounded with and the kind of information that we are surrounded with, we really need to pick and choose what we want to listen to and where we want to actually invest our energy in. So I think that is very important. And yes, always have a lot of positive self talk. That's really important.
I completely agree with that, Vinita. And I have this question, which I think would be quite a learning for everyone. As a army personnel, you have gone through so many rigorous trainings and missions. Any particular incident you want to discuss here that was really, really difficult to tackle for you or your teammate somewhere, right? How did you overcome that issue? That's what something we all want to know.
Okay. Kalyan, since your father's from the paramilitary, so you could relate to it also. Training in academies is tough, very tough. It's rigorous, it's demanding, basically exactly the way it should be. And at the end of it all, it makes you realize that human body can take on anything, and it gives you a great feeling of accomplishment and immense satisfaction. बट ये रियलाइजेशन आपको बाद में होता है जब आपका टास्क अकम्प्लिश कर लेते हो एंड यू रिफ्लेक्ट बैक. सो आई रिमेंबर वन सच इम्पॉसिबल टास्क, हॉर्स राइडिंग टेस्ट क्लियर करना था. एंड पहले ही क्लास में आई हैड टू फॉल्स और घोड़े ने बता दिया कि बॉस कौन है. मुझे समझ आ गया था दैट दिस चैलेंज इज रियली बिग. एंड आई हैड नेवर डन हॉर्स राइडिंग बिफोर. And horses are very good at this game of making you fall. And this was the state with most of us because in every session, you got a different horse and you knew nothing about that monster. So you were tested every time, and the falls made you doubtful about your own abilities. So then I reached a point where I was done falling off the horse, and I realized that giving up actually wasn't an option, and so something had to be done. And the test date was coming near, so the only option was to seek extra sessions, and that too, you get very limited time to relax in the academy. So I had to let go of that. But I had made up my mind that the damn horse had to be tamed. And every session was very tiring, but with extra sessions, I became better. And the rise after falls changed my outlook in life. I think this was a lesson, life lesson, which I learned from there. And after a lot of hard work, in one such session, I think swimming ke saath bhi aisa hota hai that you finally find the right thing, that right rhythm. And you know what, that nothing in the world compares to the experience of riding a horse. That perfection, harmonious perfection between the horse and the rider is truly of a kind. So finally I started enjoying riding, and the horse is no more a monster in my life. He actually taught me a life lesson.
Yeah, Shruti, you want to take it?
Yeah, actually, Vinita, when you were sharing your experience with horse riding and then you mentioned about swimming as well, so I can totally resonate with both of your experiences. Not like exactly, but in terms of like in that moment, what kind of experience I have been through.
Mhm.
So I was somebody who was very interested, who was very curious and who wanted to learn horse riding. So I went, and like the first time when I sat on the horse, and that moment I started crying. I started shouting. I told the guy, "Ki no, no, this is not going to happen. I took the wrong decision. Definitely, I'm going to fall." And actually, it happened. I fell. But matlab later on, when I continued the training sessions, and I realized that moment of accomplishment was something totally like out of the world. Same
Yes.
thing happened with me when I started swimming.
Mhm.
So my trainer used to, I told her कि no, no, ये तो नहीं हो पाएगा, because I went to her obviously with this intention that I'll learn swimming. And when she told me कि आपको you'll have to do this, so
Mhm.
I told her कि no, no, I'm going to feel like I will get drawn. I might drown myself in the water, and probably I will die. That is how I felt. She told me कि how come you are saying this? Like the water is just 4.5 feet, and so so at like this point of time also, whenever I do swim, I at times it happens that that moment triggers in my brain, and I feel like, my god, like there was this moment when I used to feel कि मेरे को swim नहीं हो पाएगा मुझसे, मेरे से horse riding नहीं हो पाएगी, but now it feels like a small thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the one statement which you said, that we can accomplish anything in life, matlab if basically we most of the time we limit ourselves in our own thoughts with our own mindset. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, these two experiences have definitely taught me a lot, and I totally resonated with whatever you mentioned right now.
And you know what, Shruti? There is a the when you enter the academies and our instructors, we call them ustad. So
Mhm.
so they always tell you कि ये जो आपके दिमाग में है ना कैडेट, ये जो है ये सब दिमाग में है. It's all in your mind. So you tame the mind and you tame the monkey. So that so it's actually true. It's all in the mind.
True.
Guys, I tell you, लास्ट वीकेंड मैं वाटर पार्क गई थी एंड मैं वो सबसे बड़ी वाली स्लाइड पे गई थी, वो जो होती है ना थर्ड फ्लोर से आती है बिल्कुल नीचे, एकदम बहुत ज्यादा स्लोप होता है, एंड मैं डूब गई। और मैं तब से इतना डरी हुई हूँ ना पानी से, इतना डरी हुई हूँ, मुझे ऑलरेडी हैव फियर, मैं नहीं जाती हूँ पानी में। बट देन आई थॉट कि आई विल ओवरकम माय फियर फाइनली, एंड आई वाज सो इंस्पायर्ड। आई डोंट नो यू गाइस रेड दैट स्टोरी, सीबीएसई में थी क्लास 12th में, बाय विलियम डगलस। there's this one man who started swimming and overcome his fear। तो
Mhm.
मैंने सोचा कि मैं भी इंस्पायर होती हूँ एंड आई विल गो, आई swim, एंड इट जस्ट डिडंट वर्क आउट। मैं फिर से डूब गई और अब मैं और ज्यादा डर गई हूँ। सो नाउ व्हेन श्रुति वाज टेलिंग द स्टोरी, मुझे मेरा दिन याद आ गया एंड आई वाज सो स्कैर्ड। अच्छा विनीता, आई हैव दिस वन क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम यू।
So, like before that question, Richa, sorry to
हाँ,
interrupt, like, but I would say, because you are saying that you are a bit scared and like afraid to go to the water once again. So I would like to request Vinita ma'am, if you can guide her or suggest her something, because obviously this is not the right thing to do, right?
Yeah. Eh, I feel, when you're scared of something, you should actually face it. You should actually do it. And till the time you don't do it, you will always be scared. So मुझे इस टाइम पे ना हमेशा वो डायलॉग याद आता है, डर के आगे जीत है. So I would advise Richa that you must go, and this time you must learn it with a proper instructor. So he will tell you the right techniques, and then your fear will slowly and steadily ebb away. So
हाँ,
that
एग्जैक्टली। आई शुड गेट एन इंस्ट्रक्टर इंस्टेड ऑफ गोइंग ऑल बाय माई सेल्फ विदाउट एनी टेक्निक्स, दैट्स
yes.
द पॉइंट। यस, या कल्याणी, वांट टू से समथिंग?
या सो जब ऋचा बता रही थी अपने फियर के बारे में, सो मोस्ट ऑफ माय लर्निंग कम्स फ्रॉम रील्स, ठीक है? तो रील में मैंने कुछ तो देखा था कल, व्हिच वाज कि इफ यू आर लुकिंग फॉर करेज एंड यू वांट गॉड टू गिव यू करेज, तो करेज तो नहीं मिलता ना, यू गेट एन अपॉर्चुनिटी, show that you are courageous. So something like that has happened with Richa as well. So if Richa को वो opportunity मिलती है जहाँ पे वो swimming करके अपने आप को prove करती है, that will lead you to a courageous thing. Like you will be courageous, and this is what exactly what happens. And every time that I have, अब मैं बता रहा हूँ, it may sound very stupid, but a couple of years ago I was struggling with skipping. Right, I have never uh, done the skipping and everything. And I'm a huge guy, तो मुझे बहुत डर लगता था कि मेरा पैर फंस जाएगा and I will fall. तो मैंने बचपन में कभी नहीं किया एंड लेटर ऑन मैंने डिसाइड किया कि नहीं यार सीखना है बिकॉज इट्स अमेजिंग कार्डियो एंड आई वांट टू डू दिस। तो मैंने बहुत ट्राई किया एंड फाइनली व्हेन आई फिगर्ड इट आउट आई फेल्ट सो गुड। दैट
Hmm.
एग्जैक्ट फीलिंग हैपेंड विद स्विमिंग एज वेल जब मैंने स्विमिंग सीखी एंड आई वाज वेरी बैड एट स्विमिंग एंड मैंने एक्स्ट्रा क्लासेस करके संडे वीकेंड्स में सीख के आई सरप्राइज माय ट्रेनर एज वेल जब उसने मुझे मंडे को देखा एंड आई वाज एक्चुअली स्विमिंग। ही वाज नॉट श्योर कि मैं वो 15 दिन में सीख पाऊंगा कि नहीं, बट व्हेन आई डिड ही वाज वेरी इम्प्रेस्ड। आई वाज वेरी हैप्पी। Something really happened inside me and I really grew stronger and confident. So that is something which we can learn, which that's there.
Karan,
Yeah.
I must mention here, I have gold medal at national level in skipping. Okay,
Oh
Wow.
wow,
yeah,
ये
like
तो मुझे
just
पता नहीं
going back.
था यार।
हाँ, school में I was in skipping and I won. I have like 8 gold, 12 silver, 2, 3 bronze medals like that ways. I was and 1 gold medal at national level, of course. When you said skipping, मुझे वो सब याद आ गया. अच्छा, going back to Vinita, I have this one thing. You said that when you were doing horse riding, so the horse taught you some lessons. I'm curious, what real life lessons you learned from a horse?
You
Is
know,
it stupid? Like my question? I don't know. I'm just
मु-
curious.
मुझे वो बोजैक हॉर्समैन याद आता है whenever somebody says कि horse, if I don't know if you have seen that show. It's an American sitcom kind of a thing, but yeah, Vinita, go ahead.
horse, when you're asking me that, I can actually picturize the horse sitting in front of me in that Guru Wala avatar and telling me, Vinita, you should learn this. Of course, it did not happen that way. But what, I have learned is that, every fall that I had from the horse and every time I got over it, again got back on it, it taught me as to, that you fall, you rise, you fall, you rise. Until the time you don't try something, you don't give your 100% to it, you don't achieve things. Secondly, when every problem will have a difficult solution. Every problem is an opportunity, but every problem will have a solution, definitely. And when you are one with the animal and that harmony of riding the rhythm, that itself is something completely amazing. Then you look after the horse, you're grooming, and how the horse responds to you. Those are something very different things that when you I think only a rider can understand that. And the most important is that don't get overwhelmed by the size of the problem. That is a very important thing.
Oh my god, this is so good. I am so glad I asked you this thing. Acha, I want to get back to Kavya. Kavya, you raised your hand. You want to ask something?
Yeah, I wanted to share the similar experience that I had, what Shruti ma'am said. Like when I was in school, my swimming teacher, my trainer, used to hold me and teach me swimming. At that time, I used to think that I would never learn swimming as it was very difficult for me at that time. But as time passed, I learned swimming as well, and I started learning bicycle with my sister. At that time, it was very tough for me, and even I thought that bicycle riding was never for me, and I would never learn it. But only few days it took to learn bicycle. So it's there's nothing called impossible. Even I had the perspective of what you guys were speaking. That's why I thought of sharing.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kavya, for sharing it. So, Vinita, I have this next question from you. That you mentioned that everything about army training and how you got trained, those rigorous days of your life. Do you ever miss those life, or how was that experience, and how is it different now? And do you just miss how your days to be and now how they are? What is the difference? And
Richa, life in the army is a very unique experience. In the army, there is an immediate connect, as I was mentioning earlier. Everybody is there for you. They are concerned for you. They guide you. And you're part of an ecosystem that nurtures you and cares for you. What you learn in the army, the values, they remain with you always. As you say, you may leave the army, but the army never leaves you, you know. It is still a very big part of my life, as we are still staying in an army cantonment, since my husband is also a serving army officer. And I certainly go down the memory lane. My entire life has been spent in this beautiful organization where I have made lifelong friends. So we keep meeting up, and I do cherish those days.
This is so good. I mean, our life at army must be so good, so disciplined, and I've always fascinated it, like how कितनी अच्छी होती होगी life and everything. So yeah, thank
Yes,
you so
yes,
much.
welcome.
Yeah, so Kalyan, you want to take it, or Shruti?
No, no, I okay. So I would like to ask, like, what are some of the effective ways to identify and manage negative triggers in our daily life, like day to day life? We definitely, most of us come across a lot of such situations. So, like, what would you like to suggest? And I would
Hmm.
like to like hear your insights on this and
Yeah.
any tips as well. Yeah.
I feel the most important action step is to first identify actually what is triggering you and causing those negative emotions or behaviors. And it could be anything, certain people, situation, or even our own thoughts. So, then how do you identify the triggers, as you asked? So, I feel that, you need to be mindful because when you feel triggered, identify the circumstances and also our own physical reaction to it. Like in my case, when I feel triggered, the first thing that I feel is, I have that very uneasy feeling in my stomach. My mind also na bilkul blank ho jata hai. And once you start to recognize these feelings, and I know, when this is happening, over the years I have realized that when this kind of a thing happens, it means I'm getting actually triggered. And once you start to recognize these feelings, you will have an easier time to identify what is actually causing the issue. And once you do that, then try and minimize the impact. By first, you calm the body by taking a deep breath. And it is, human nature to interpret reality according to your mood. And so when you're in a negative situation and negative frame of mind, you are actually not thinking straight. So best is to just leave the situation and come back to tackle it once you are more calmer. I think most of us have experienced that, once you have an argument, आपका boyfriend के साथ, girlfriend के साथ, colleague के साथ, and you've had a heated argument. और जब आप वापस जाते हो ना, and when you've calmed down or maybe next day, then you realize that it wasn't such a big deal after all, and it could have been easily avoided. So I've always felt that it's never a good idea to respond immediately when you're feeling negative and you're triggered. So I think it's best to leave it alone, and you can minimize the triggers by practicing self care. You exercise, you meditate, you connect with nature, practice positive self talk, or best is, talk to a friend or a partner, you spend time with your loved ones, and of course, setting boundaries with people or situations that trigger negative emotions. And after all of this, also, if things are not working out, then I think we should not shy away from talking to a mental health professional also.
Definitely. But adding to this, I would like to ask, like most of the time, what happens is that we do get lots of negative thoughts, and it definitely have a like very powerful impact on our emotions, behaviors. So how can we learn like how to reframe them into a positive light, which can help us like cultivate some मतलब what happens with me also like जब ऐसा कोई negative thought आता है आपके mind में तो it gets very difficult कि
Hmm.
आप उसको एक optimistic outlook कैसे दोगे अपनी life पे क्योंकि most of the time ऐसे हो जाता है कि like we start thinking negative.
Hmm.
So I would love to hear your thoughts on this thing or any practical strategies which matlab you may have used or you would like to share so that which can help us to shift our perspective like when we start thinking negative to some positive kind of like we can think positively.
Shruti, from my personal experience, I can tell you that the process of reframing your negative thoughts can take a little time. But with practice, we can achieve it. Because, as soon as you experience a negative thought that is creeping into your mind, you immediately practice positive reframing. For example, if you have a thought which says, maybe I'm not attractive enough, to reframe it to something like I am unique and I have qualities that make me beautiful. Or if your thought says, I can't do this, mujhe nahi hoga, then you reframe it and to say, I may not know how to do this yet, but I can learn and grow with practice. Because reframing positive thinking patterns, it takes practice and awareness. As I said earlier, it won't happen overnight, but if you're mindful of the negative thoughts that you have, you will start to see that you are in control of how you feel. Because negative thoughts are like a chain reaction. You have to step in to stop this chain from consuming you.
That is true. I so agree with you, Vinita, on this. Yes, Kavya, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question for Vinita, ma'am. Uh,
Mhm.
when, like, maybe a year ago or 2 years ago, I had this dream of becoming an IAS officer, writing Union Public Service examination. But over time, like, what my main purpose of life or the main mission or the goal is to connect with people, do something good to people, and like encourage people, do something really nice to the younger generation, take care of the older generation. It revolves around these kind of things. What I felt was, people, IAS officers and the bureaucrats have the great power in them, and they can do a lot of things in such fields. And over time, what I felt is entrepreneurs will have more power than what IAS officers may have, and they will have so much connections. They have the money power as well, and they can do a lot more than the IAS officers or any other bureaucrat can do. So this two thoughts of whether to become that or this, or some confusions in career path, is always like a question mark to me. So if you can add on this.
Uh, I couldn't understand your question, Kavya. Like you're still contemplating as to which career to choose, or if you could just reframe your question.
Yeah, I have this thing of whether to become an IS officer or to become an entrepreneur. Actually, even like these days, I read a lot of books on business, and I have lot of interest in becoming an entrepreneur. And I would also like to be a corporate employee to gain some leadership qualities in different companies, like different uh, roles in different roles. So to choose between between entrepreneur or to be in bureaucrat is my question. Like, I'm always confused among these two.
I think Kavya, both have a different reach, and both have capacity to do good to the society. So I feel that it's your personal call as to what are your strengths and how can you work upon them, and which one actually is your calling, which one you're more passionate about. So I think you need to sit and contemplate on that, and that should help you take a career decision and choose a good career, make you a good career choice.
Yes, but the thing is, as time passes, it will always be fluctuating between these two. Sometimes I feel like the power in the hands of bureaucrats will be more, and they can impact in such a way that it can be impactful for so many people at a time or at a scale. Or I also feel that entrepreneur is someone who is recognized globally and can do so much more with the money power, manpower, and they can also give employment to so many people. That's the thing.
See, what I feel is that both have a very, very different reach and a different area of work. So, what uh, you have to be good at whatever you're doing to reach a particular level. Even if you're an entrepreneur, you can't start earning money just in the first or year or 2 year. Every entrepreneur is not successful either. So if you still have that kind of a confusion, and you're young, there are loads of choices. You can appear for UPSC, you can become an IS officer, and once you have served there for a little while and you've seen the world and learned more lessons, then you take on your entrepreneur journey, and you might have a great aha moment, something really good. You can have a good startup, so you can do both. Sky's the limit.
Yeah, that was the, like, I got my answer.
Thank you.
Yes. And Kavya, you know what? We have Aviral with us, and Aviral is just 16, and he's an entrepreneur.
I
And
know him. I
Aviral,
know him.
you know him, right? So I
Yeah.
feel that if you're passionate towards something, you can really work towards it. It doesn't have to be either of them. You can choose both of them at different phases of your life, like Vinita has done. So completely, entirely your decision, entirely your whatever you are passionate towards, you will figure it out. Keep reading books, keep talking to people, keep visiting uh, new things, keep doing new stuff. You will eventually figure out what is what excites you, passion, and where your passion lies. So you have to do a lot of experiment over there, right?
Yeah, even I'm trying to explore like a lot of different fields, trying to talk to people, what suits me, what doesn't suit me. I'm trying to do all that. So yeah.
Good, good. And thank you so much for that question. Now, I will ask another question to Vinita. So, my question is today's generation is, if you look closely, is very much related to, या फिर वो बहुत ज़्यादा बताते हैं that there is a suffering. And इस generation के साथ है ऐसा या फिर हर generation के साथ है, I'm not very much aware, but इस generation is very vocal about their sufferings, and I believe that suffering is very personal and it's a personal journey. And also, I remember this quote that says that we suffer more in our imagination than in our reality. So, do you want to add something to this? What is happening, and do you feel the same?
Kalyan, beyond doubt that we suffer more in our imagination than in reality. Actual suffering is so much less than the imaginary suffering we go through in our minds, because we don't put a stop to our own negative thoughts, I feel. This imaginary suffering continues for many days and brings same intensity of pain every time, while the physical suffering, may have been over a long time back. Then I feel, why do you want to rethink events that made you suffer when you have a choice of thoughts? And coming to this generation, I certainly don't believe that today's generation is suffering. They have more opportunities, they're more intelligent, creative, and hence they want more. And I find nothing wrong with it. So, suffering is only because we don't focus on taking care of our mental health in our busy schedules. That is what I feel.
Hmm. That is that explains a lot. To be honest, I agree with that, and I feel that जैसे आपने भी बोला that and तो कोर्ट में भी ऐसा ही था कि सफरिंग imagination में ज़्यादा है and in reality बहुत ही कम है. So we constantly put ourselves in that situation where we overthink and
Mm,
we kind of blame ourselves for something that is also not in our control, and
mm.
that kind of ruins everything. And somewhere we start playing the victim card as well. What do you want to add to that? If somebody unnecessarily puts himself or herself in that situation, and then over the time, then उसके बाद वो बोलता है कि नहीं यार मेरे साथ तो ऐसा हुआ था, because of this I cannot lead a good life, or because of this I cannot make more money, or I cannot get promotion. So somewhere is it because of the victim card that that person has started believing कि this is my reality? Do you believe that?
Yes, I do believe that, Kalyan, because After some time you have to stop living in the past. You have to look forward. So it all boils down to having a positive set of mindset. Every time if you start the story from the same this thing a and everybody is going through some situation in life or the other. Everybody is carrying their own burden. We don't know about other people's problems. बट द थिंग इज एवरी टाइम यू आर स्टार्टिंग द टेप, वहीं से आप दोबारा से टेप शुरू कर रहे हो। जब मैं ऐसा था तब मेरे साथ वैसे हुआ था, मेरा तो इतना प्रॉब्लम था। दैट इज नॉट हेल्पिंग यू बिकॉज यू आर फीडिंग योर सबकॉन्शियस माइंड टू स्टे इन दैट प्लेस itself. You're not looking forward. You're not wanting to improve. You're not wanting to go ahead in life. So you have to put a stop. Whenever such a thought comes, just say stop. I'm not going to think about it and move ahead. You have to change your mindset. You have to change your thinking process.
Hmm. And Vinita, what happens when one of your twin comes to you and says, "Ki, Mama, I am going through this problem. Yeah, this is what happening with me." Uh, do you provide him with a solution, or do you let him figure it out by himself? What is your instant reaction to something like that?
They are just 12 years old, Kalyan. So I give them the solution, because I think this is still the time to teach them and to make them learn the ropes of the world. So I always give them a solution. And I
Acha,
think
and go ahead, go ahead.
एज पेरेंट्स आई थिंक वो 12 साल के क्या, वो 80 years के भी हो जाएंगे तब भी हम सोल्यूशन ही दे रहे होंगे। सो
ओके। एंड आपको मतलब ऐसा लगता है कि कोई प्रॉब्लम अगर मतलब वो लोग अगर कुछ बता रहे हैं आपको एंड यू फील दैट इनको खुद से ही वो चीज़ सॉल्व करनी चाहिए, सो यू जस्ट बैक आउट एंड यू ट्राई टू सेपरेट दैट, डू
yes,
यू डू दैट? या?
yes, I also do that. I am very conscious of not becoming a helicopter parent.
Mhm.
So because I want them to learn things which they can on their own. सो लाइफ लेसन्स तो कुछ लाइफ लेसन्स तो अपने आप भी सीखना होता है, बिकॉज आफ्टर सम टाइम आई डोंट वांट देम टू बिकम mama's boy or mama's girl. They have to learn all these things themselves. They have to develop their thought process. They have to grow with their own thoughts. And after all, why should we impose our thoughts on them? They have to learn things themselves. But yes, something which is big, which they are still not aware about, that of course we give them solutions. And then another thing that we do, that is we always give them choices, that you can do this also, you can do that also, so it's up to you what you want to pick. So that also helps them learn how to be more responsible.
Hmm. Or is is there any roadmap that you have, like this is what I want to teach them, this is what they should get, and या फिर उन्हें इस direction पे डालना है, something that you have in your mind? Yeah, it's just how it is.
Yes, broadly yes. So the most important thing which I keep telling them is that you need to be a good human being first. So that is something very, very important that they need to have. Studies, no studies, you become something or you don't become something, that's secondary. The most important is that you need to be a good human being. Then your behavior has to be very good, pleasing. And especially, I have a daughter and a son. So we, practice gender neutrality at home. So everything is equal. So both of them have to do both the things. So there is nothing like that the boys can't do this and the girls can't do this. In fact, I feel my poor boy is. He calls himself poor because he feels that he is doing much more than his sister. So that way, and how to respect girls, how to respect the space that you have, and how to behave with girls, that is what is being taught to him at home also. So this is something which we are very focused about. Then yes, one instrument, so both of them play an instrument each. They play guitar, they play a piano. And sports, both my kids are football fans, so they are huge football fans, and they play pretty well. Sports is another thing. So it has to be I feel it has to be all round development. it should not be only study focused, because in today's day and age, it's not something like it used to be in our times, that you have to get marks, and आपके पास सिर्फ three options हैं, या तो आप डॉक्टर बन जाओ, इंजीनियर बन जाओ, टीचर बन जाओ, या fourth option like I did, which was very rare, that you go into the army. So it's not like that. They have today's generation has a plethora of choices. So most important is that you become a well-rounded personality, and then the world is yours. Like we were just discussing, that after that the sky is the limit. You have your choice. You can do whatever you want and enjoy life.
And Vinita, is motherhood difficult?
If you ask, yes, with twins, it is definitely difficult in the initial years, and but the joy it gives you is, it overpowers the difficulty. So, and especially when the kids are not listening to you, then you find that yes, it is very difficult. So, but yes, they are angels when they're sleeping, and that is a time when you feel like really hugging them and kissing them. But during the day, and this is something which I always try in the morning when I'm doing my prayers. I always feel that okay, today there's no scolding, there's no shouting, no screaming. But by the middle of the day, I feel I become a monster, and then I'm again trying to control myself. But I think that's part of their growing up, and I have actually become a better human being after I had kids. I've had more patience. I have learned so much more from them.
Hmm. That was fun to listen. And okay, so we have come to the mid, like almost to the end of the space, but हमारे पास और भी questions है. But before we do go to that, हम लोग एक fun rapid fire round खेलते हैं with every guest that we have. So I will ask you a couple of questions to everyone, Richa, Shruti, Aviral as well, Kavya as well, because सब लोग speaker है, and you, ठीक है, in particular. So my first question is, it's a rapid fire, so you have to be very very quick about it. So first question is, what is one of your most useless talent, Vinita?
Ironing, I think. I
You have to be fast. I'll go to
okay.
Shruti. हाँ बोलिए बोलिए आप बोलिए.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vinita. Yeah, you can.
I was saying that ironing clothes, I think that is something which I'm really not good at.
Oh, okay. ठीक है. Shruti, what is your most useless talent?
I'm not able to come up with an answer because I am not.
What not? ठीक.
I don't think one thing I can say is that like I have this observation skill. Probably, हाँ मतलब at times it is useless, but like most of the time it helps me. Like मतलब मैं उसको content में create कर लेती हूँ या फिर I somehow utilize it creatively. But yeah, मतलब that is useless I would say. I have this keen observing skill. Like I observe everything around me.
But that's not useless, na? That's a good talent to have.
Hmm.
ठीक है चलो. Time being, that's a useless thing. ठीक है रिचा आप बताओ next.
I
Useless
think I
talent.
was good in writing and now it is of no use. I
Oh,
once like कोई
yes.
use ही नहीं करता ना writing अब now we all just write.
Hmm. What about you, Aviral?
I think I can do a backflip.
अरे
जो कि
बैकफ्लिप तो काम
useless.
आएगा यार, मतलब वो तो लड़की वड़की को इम्प्रेस करने का काम आ जाएगा.
अरे नहीं कहाँ कल्याण भाई इम्प्रेस होना होगा तो आप बैंक बैलेंस देख के भी हो जाओ कि नहीं होना होगा तो बैकफ्लिप से बाकी रह जाएगी कोई चीज नहीं है.
Okay, I like that. I like that. Kavya, what about you? Most useless
Chatting
talent.
with strangers.
What is? I didn't get you.
Chatting with strangers.
अच्छा, chatting with strangers. Okay. हम भी तो stranger ही है ना. बताओ हमारे साथ तुम chat करिए, useless talent है तुम्हारा.
No. It's like I know you people. I follow you on LinkedIn
अच्छा,
and
okay. Okay,
Twitter and
that's
all.
good. Okay. Okay, cool. So next question, Vinita. What would you do with $1 million? Let's say you get $1 million right now. What would you do?
Ah. So, firstly, I definitely want to do charity, but mostly first I would go shopping and indulge in a lot of shopping with myself and my kids, and then of course charity. Yes.
Okay, that is fun. What about you, Richa? क्या करोगे आप $1 million का?
I will buy Twitter and fix these glitches.
नहीं, $1 million में नहीं आएगा, वो $1 billion में उसने खरीदा, तुम मिलियन में क्या
अच्छा,
करोगे वो बताओ?
हाँ ये भी है। एक तो मेरे को इमेजिन ही नहीं हो रहा ना $1 million, मतलब मैंने सोचा ही नहीं है कभी। दिस इज सो हार्ड टू इमेजिन।
बट कुछ तो करोगे ना, कुछ तो सोचा होगा कि ऐसा आएगा तो ये करूंगी।
I don't have मतलब इतने ज्यादा luxurious dreams. I live a very simple life और मुझे लगता है
तो
इतने
अभी
में
तो
हो
1
जाता है।
मिलियन
मैंने
दे रहा
सोचा
हूँ मैं
नहीं।
तुम्हें, बिग सोचो।
अरे जब मिलेंगे तो सोचेंगे। एफडी करा
ठीक है,
दूंगी मम्मी पापा के
एफडी,
नाम में।
हाँ एफडी करा देना। मिस्टर वारिको को मत बताना, बस एफडी करा देना, ठीक है। श्रुति, व्हाट अबाउट यू? व्हाट डू यू वांट टू डू विद $1 million?
या मतलब ऐसे इफ वी डोंट टॉक अबाउट चैरिटी एंड ऑल तो आई वुड लाइक टू बाय सप्लाई ऑफ लाइक लाइफ टाइम सप्लाई ऑफ पिज्जा और लाइक सम गुड फूड because I'm a foodie, so that I can sit at my couch and eat like all day long. Because like I have this principle that I'm living for eating because I eat a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, I love to eat. सही है, सही है।
लास्ट टाइम
I like that.
सतीश आइसक्रीम खा रही थी ना,
हाँ,
याद
I
आया
made
मुझे
that.
पिज्जा से।
I made that like आइसक्रीम मैंने बनाया और मैंने आज बेक्ड समोसा भी बनाया जो घर पे बनाया मैंने and that was amazing.
Okay,
So I
nice.
just to make some wait करती रहती हूँ कुछ-कुछ चीजें घर पे।
Hmm.
बट द थिंग इज उसमें आपको मेहनत करनी पड़ती है तो अगेन लाइक कमिंग बैक टू योर क्वेश्चन अगर इतना होगा मेरे पास तो डेफिनेटली मुझे
मेहनत नहीं
काम
करना पड़ेगा। हाँ, good, good. ठीक है, what about you, Aviral? What do you want to do? I'm sure you want to put it in your startup, but क्या other than
Yeah,
that?
डेफिनेटली कल्याण भाई, मैं तो 95% अपने स्टार्टअप में इन्वेस्ट कर दूंगा, 5% में रखूंगा टू टू इन्वेस्ट इन द स्टॉक मार्केट और उसके साथ एक्सपेरिमेंट करने के लिए विद द फाइनेंसेस एंड स्टफ। तो हाँ, यही रहेगा।
बताओ, तुम 16 साल के हो, तुम इतना बड़ी बड़ी बातें कर रहे हो और यहाँ पे सुनो श्रुति, रिचा, मेरे मेरे हम पिज्जा पे डाल रहे हैं, but I like it, I like it. Kavya, what about you? What do you want to do?
I have a lot of things in my mind. I have planned so many projects, like so many, and I would love to invest in so many projects. And apart from that, I'll be a philanthropist.
okay then let me just rephrase the question that you have to invest in some unrealistic ideas then what would be your answer I would like to ask the same to Aviril and Kavya both
Unrealistic? What do you mean by unrealistic? I mean,
Kalyan will explain that
अरे मुझे भी नहीं पता, मैंने भी अभी सुना। अरे बट आई फील दैट अनरियलिस्टिक मतलब जो रियलिस्टिक ना हो। मतलब मैं क्या बताऊं अभी यार, काव्या।
exactly
हाँ,
exactly
मतलब
okay,
it's
okay,
not a very simple one. It's not
okay,
something. See,
okay.
we all want to invest. That is there, but you have to spend it. Spend it somewhere. You know, spend
I'll
it
buy a
somewhere.
nation.
You'll buy what?
A nation.
Hmm. Okay. What about you?
Unrealistic.
Okay. Before I go to Aviral, let me say quickly hi to Sarita. Hi, Sarita. What do you want to do with your $1 million? Sarita, are you there? Hello, hello. Okay. Sarita is not there. Okay, Aviral, bolo.
या सो मैं एक ऐसी मशीन में इन्वेस्ट करना चाहूंगा जो मैंने एक साइफाई मूवी में देखी थी, जिसमें कि आप कोई भी ट्रैश कैन डालो तो उससे दे कैन मेक फूड आउट ऑफ दैट। तो मैं उस मशीन में इन्वेस्ट करने में इंटरेस्टेड हूँ।
उससे पिज्जा निकलेगा क्या?
हाँ, सब कुछ निकलता था उससे, बर्गर एंड ऑल।
चलो फिर श्रुति का भी हो गया फिर तो एक ही टाइम। चलो सरिता, या गो
Yeah.
अहेड।
Hi, Kalyan.
हाय।
Yeah. I don't have question. I mean, I was not thinking about this $1 million thing, but yes, I have a question for Vinita. And
अरे रुक
I
जा,
want.
अभी नहीं, अभी मत पूछो। हमारे
Achha,
रैपिड फायर राउंड के बीच में मत
okay, okay,
पूछो।
okay. This is
यू
a
कैन
rapid
डेफिनेटली
fire.
आस्क द क्वेश्चन वंस द रैपिड
Carry
फायर
on,
is
carry on. I mean, I am not instant in this. I mean, nothing is coming to my mind that
no, I get
$1
it. We
because
will take your question, but we are ending the
yeah,
rapid fire
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
So I'll ask one more question to Vinita. What is one TV show you want to be featured in as a main character? Right? What is the one TV show you're right now hooked and you want to be featured in?
I think further.
Okay,
Mm,
nice. What about you,
yeah.
Kavya?
You might not know, but it's in Kannada, in my native language.
Hmm.
Uh, it is Weekend with Ramesh, where the people, great personalities, will be invited and they speak about their life, and people
Hmm.
get inspired by it.
Okay. Viral, what about you?
तारक मेहता का उल्टा चश्मा
उसमें कौन सा कैरेक्टर?
टप्पू का
Okay. What about you, Richa?
The member in me wants to say Crime Patrol, but I would say Friends.
Friends में कौन?
Friends में I will replace Phoebe.
Oh,
I would have
nice,
made.
nice, nice. Shruti, what about you?
Yeah, I would love to answer the same, whatever Richa said, but that would be Rachel because I love her so much. I
Mm.
just like her a lot.
And I don't like Phoebe. I like Rachel. Therefore, I want to replace Phoebe and be with Rachel.
Mm. Okay.
And with me, the thing is like, during my college days, a lot of friends, like my people around me, used to say that, matlab, you are just like Phoebe. And that is something very funny. So I definitely don't want to be Phoebe anymore.
उन लोग को गलत प्रूफ भी तो करना है. सही है श्रुति. ठीक है. Okay. I would ask few more questions. छोटे छोटे फटाफट. ठीक है. विनीता, arranged marriage or love marriage?
I have an arranged marriage which turned into love marriage. So I think in the next time, also, if I'm given an option with the same husband, yes, I will again go for the same choice.
Wow. Kavya?
A loved partner with arranged marriage. Like all
Okay.
my parents and all my relatives should be there in my marriage, but the partner should be the loved one.
Okay.
Okay,
What
I
about
have
you?
to, but I would
What
like
ab-
to ask this thing to Kavya. Why do you think that in love marriage your friends and family and relative won't be there?
They will be there. I won't like do anything in their absence.
Hmm. Okay, good. अच्छी बात है, अच्छी बात है. Sarita, you want to answer this? This is a
Yeah, I would go for arranged marriage, and reason being that I feel there is this charm, there is this, the new thing that happening slowly and steadily. So I feel there is more of charm in the arranged marriage thing.
Hmm. Okay. Viral,
Yeah.
what about you?
सच बताऊं तो कभी कुछ सोचा नहीं इस बारे में तो कोई
Okay.
स्पेसिफिक आंसर तो नहीं है बट मैं ये कहूँगा
At,
कुछ भी चलेगा
हाँ,
at this
तुम्हारे
point,
केस में तो वो बाल विवाह टाइप हो जाएगा यार. तुम 16 के हो, तुमको नहीं सोचना चाहिए एक्चुअली, बट ठीक है, मैंने पूछ लिया तो ठीक है, जाने दो. अभी रिचा बताओ.
Considering my past relationships, I would say arranged marriage.
Okay. Shruti, what about you?
not an arranged marriage because it is scary, like from my perspective,
क्या पता उसको पिज्जा पसंद ना हो तो, है ना?
right?
Exactly.
Actually.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So
Okay,
ठीक
so
है.
coming back to the host who don't answer these rapid fire round की question.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I,
मेरा I think for me I think arranged marriage is more scarier. So yeah, love marriage is something that I can handle.
What
Arranged
if
marriage क्या?
what if they are not foodie?
हाँ वही. Exactly. So with that, I think we are done with all the rapid fire questions. And yes, Sarita, you had a question. Go for it.
Yeah. I had a question that I wanted to ask Vinita that what is her perspective regarding like as in I've been putting up content on social media from past like around maybe a year or two. So what I have been noticing is that people on social media like for instance I'll be taking Instagram. I'm not talking about Twitter, I'll be talking about Instagram. So there are people who provide content which has like cheap dopamine. So, and what I see is that the viewers, the consumers who are watching that content, they are consuming it, they're liking it, they're being entertained by it. Like, for example, if a girl is getting married and now she's putting content with her husband, I mean, they're exposing their personal life. And the thing is, the people who are putting the content, the valuable content, the ethics and values, or maybe something related to, which is productive, which is quality, it's not getting that much traction as much as that, that cheap dopamine content is getting. So sometimes, at times, I do feel, I have this question, it keeps coming to me. I don't react, I do not even respond to all those reels or maybe anything that, kind of, it feels like offensive to me. But deep down, I keep thinking about this. I mean, where is this world going? Are we heading towards something that is like just, entertaining and pleasing just for a moment? Because it is definitely not going to last longer.
Uh, Sarita, right?
Yeah.
Sarita, I feel, Bollywood movies, masala contents,
Yeah.
that is what gets traction today. And
Yes.
uh, but good content also draws attention, and it all kinds of consumers are there,
Yeah.
and kind of content is there. So you need to be very sure as to what consumers are you aiming at, and
Yes.
uh, because these kind of people who are putting up this kind of a trashy thing that, as you mentioned, they are of course not interested in what startup Aviral is doing, or what Elon Musk has just said, or something more interesting. And
Yeah.
uh, because our society and education system also needs to change. I agree to that, but then
Yeah.
these kind of people will always be there. So it is it, I think, balances out somewhere or the other. So we need to choose our people whom we relate to. We need to
Yeah.
choose our content that we relate to. And as
True.
I was saying earlier, there is all sorts of content everywhere. Yes, and especially in this day and age, of social media, we have
Yeah.
with content so much so that after some time, you're just wondering, tired. If you start seeing reels, your entire
Yeah.
hour can go by just watching that content, that nonsensical content, and then you
True.
suddenly
True.
realize you spent so much time you've just wasted on it. So
Yeah.
we have to be very conscious as to what we are consuming, because whether it is your thoughts, or whether it is your what you're watching, whether what you're reading, it is all going into your personality, and it becomes the sum total of your personality. So we have to be careful about what we choose to do.
True, true. Yeah, actually, I mean, it's not about me that I feel that people see. I'm putting up content on social media. The idea is not that people should come and check out my content. The idea is, I mean, what I portrayed this, what why I kept this question is that it feels sad that why the majority of the crowd is heading towards the content which is not constructive. So
Yes.
it feels sad. How should I make that shift in their minds that they, get into such content, or, they read such content, watch such content, which is good for them. I mean, if I'm putting up a content and people who are like minded, they will definitely come to my content. So there is no like hindrance for them. They feel that connect. But the idea is to bring the other crowd as well, who are ignorant about, what is constructive.
I feel it is their choice firstly, because
Yeah.
no, you can't control their choices.
Yeah.
Secondly, when you are consistently putting up good content, it definitely does get noticed. That is what I have realized on LinkedIn. I'm not
Mhm.
on Insta, but consistency and good content definitely gets you highlighted. Maybe it might take a little time, but then it does do it. And you put in more good content. That's all you can do. But rest is their choice whether they consume it or not. I would say that
Yeah, yeah, getting you, Vinita, getting you.
yeah,
All that we can do is just, keep on focusing on our work. We cannot like control them, right?
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
It is all about your growth. You can't preach and teach others. So what you
true.
do is improve yourself. So it's all
Yeah.
about, because I'm sure, like, when you are writing good content, you're also consuming good content. You are not consuming the kind of content is that trashy kind of content. So it's all about what you consume and what you write about. So it is your growth is happening, so that is what matters.
Exactly. Thank you, Vinita.
Welcome.
Yeah, Vinita. So next question is from my side. There is a lot of negativity around, and especially when it comes to family members, relatives, or people they seem a little judgmental, and not everything is very good around you. So, how do you deal with negativity, and how do you ignore people who are very judgmental, being your own family members and relatives? So, how do you deal with it?
Richa, I think we all have judgmental at some point of the time or the other. It's human nature. But yes, the problem arises when it becomes a favorite pastime for people, as nowadays it has become. So, see, we can't control other people's behavior, but what we can control is how we respond to it. So, I feel the best way is to not take anything personally. What others say or do is a projection of their own reality. So you should limit your interactions with such people and avoid engaging in discussions that are likely to get judgmental, and avoid stooping to their level. But on the other hand, if your family members are judgmental, then it needs to be handled a bit more delicately, because you need to respond diplomatically. So start and end the conversation respectfully. For example, you can tell them that you don't want to discuss certain topics, or you need space when they are being critical. And if you find that the conversation is turning judgmental, then change the subject to a more positive or a neutral one. So it's like, as you said, judgmental people are everywhere. But instead of trying to fix or change someone else, we should focus on what is in our control, and that is our responses and actions.
Surely, totally agreed. But then at times there are, desi parents. They are like, "तुम चुप करो, तुम्हें कुछ नहीं पता," and we listen to it like all the time. So it is very difficult to, give answers back to parents, because then they are like, कि, "अच्छा तुम इतने बड़े हो गए हो, हमसे बात कैसे बात करोगे?" ऐसा वैसा. Even if you are making a very logical point, it won't work in front of them. So it is difficult.
You know what I teach my children? That when I am annoyed or when I'm angry, so they should just keep saying, "Yes, yes, Mama, you're right. Yes, Mama, you're right." And after that, when I have cooled down, then they should come and tell me, and then I actually listen to their point. So I think you can practice that.
But Vinita, do you think that parents have their ego also? I mean, despite being wrong, they keep on, uh, forcing the idea of that they are right on their perspective. They have their ego.
Their generation, I feel, things are very different. So yes,
Yeah,
not but the generation gap is quite a big, so they can't comprehend that you might be aware of things and you might be having a better perspective.
better
So
perspective.
yeah, so it does take a little time. Like in my case also, with my children, I have to remind myself that they are this generation of today, where they have access to a huge amount of knowledge. So, and at times my 12-year-olds know much more than me on topics, so that I need to take it, and I need to accept that. So then the ego should not come in between. Because you just because you're a parent, you can't be right all the time.
Yeah. Richa, I'm just interrupting in between because your question triggered me certain questions. Is that so? In this case, what should we do? Like, if we find that our parents are not understanding, and we know that our perspective is right, and we want to convey that perspective, and they are not willing to take that perspective. So, in that scenario, how should we take forward the whole situation? I mean, so that it gets into their mind and they get aligned with without making a mess out of it.
uh, as I was mentioning earlier, Sarita, when these things have heated up to such an extent,
Yeah.
the question is to just let it go.
Yeah.
Just go
Just
and
let it
talk.
go.
Yeah, just don't talk about it at that time. That's what.
Hmm.
And then when things have cooled down, and when they are in a more receptive
Yeah.
frame of mind, that
Yeah.
you convey it.
Keep
So
the matter aside for a moment, right?
yes, yes, yes. That is what all it. Although it becomes very difficult, because
Yeah.
you are they are heated up, and you want to just solve it at that very moment.
Moment. Yeah, exactly.
I think the best is to just take a step back and maybe revisit it after a day when they have cooled down, or maybe 2 days, 3 days, depending upon the topic. So
Yeah.
yes,
Cool.
and then of course we have parents, and they always have the best interest in our, your best interest in their heart.
True,
So
true, true, true.
have to consider that too.
True.
True,
That's
that
true.
that's so right. I would like to ask Vinita, what are some ways we can develop confidence?
Hmm. You know what? I always tell my kids this: self confidence is a superpower. Because
Hmm.
once you start believing in yourself, the world starts changing. And the most important step is, जो मैं खुद भी करती हूँ, that stop comparing. Because don't compare on Insta.
Sarita, can you just switch off your mic? Yeah, Vinita, go ahead.
So I feel that again, social media, it gives you so much access to everything, that we start comparing with us, with everybody. Insta pe kisi ka photo dekha apne friend ka, okay, okay, that kind of a hairstyle, that kind of a location, that kind of a vacation. Okay, that friend is earning though so much. I feel just don't compare. We need to understand, that everyone is running their own race, and life isn't a competition. You are only one version of you on this planet. Please realize that. This is what I teach my clients too, that stand tall with your shoulders back and head held high. Having a good posture instantly makes you feel more confident. Then focus on your strengths, what you're good at. Set small goals for yourself, because you accomplish them, and you see how this puts your confidence on steroids. Then another important thing I feel is, upskill yourself. Learning new things will help you feel more competent and confident about yourself. And of course, when you spend time with positive people who support you, uplift you, it can help you feel more confident. And you know what? Self confidence is the best outfit. So you rock it, you own it. It's all there within you, So you have to make a choice to embrace it.
I agree with that. I absolutely agree to that. And um, one of the things that I have noticed is you have to make sacrifices in life as well, and sacrifices of certain things that are not so important for you or for in the life. So basically, what I'm trying to say is कि prioritize करना पड़ता है चीजें अपनी life में. So how should someone know कि क्या चीज को prioritize करनी है, क्या चीज को नहीं करनी है? How should someone know that? Because कई बार ऐसा होता है कि we get into a relationship and that kind of takes a lot of our energy and power, या फिर we do या फिर हम काम में ही इतने बिजी रहते हैं कि हम अपनी फैमिली की तरफ ध्यान नहीं दे पाते. So Vinita, how do you prioritize things in your life?
See, Kalyan, I feel that all our wishes cannot come true because time with us is limited. So, one tip which I also follow and I can share is that, firstly define your goals, prioritize them, and then work a plan backwards. Because correct prioritization automatically will, it will lead to sacrifice of the less important ones. So, we all know that accomplishments, give us a sense of achievement. An achievement of the most important goals will give us that biggest high. It will boost our self confidence. And as you grow and in age and you mature, your priorities will keep shifting throughout, different stages of life. And in fact, it is important to regularly, reiterate yourself and adjust your priorities as needed. So prioritization, or in other words, sacrifice of less important things, it will make our lives more meaningful. So as you said, work and life, family are two important facets of our life. So you have to prioritize. At times maybe your work takes precedence, at times your family takes precedence. So you need to decide as to, and it will keep regularly changing. So yes, we need to do that.
This was so helpful. Thank you so much for sharing everything, and you summarized it so well, Vinita.
Thank you.
Lastly, I would like to say, do you have any final words for people listening to you?
Uh,
Anything you would like to share?
well, firstly, thank you all so much for listening in today. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share my knowledge and experience with all of you. And now I don't want to give any heavy gyan, just that, I would encourage everyone to have positive thoughts, because as positive thoughts, you that will lead to positive actions, and positive actions lead to positive life. So we need to make a conscious decision and conscious action on our side, on our parts, to think positive thoughts and limit our negative thoughts.
True.
Richa, you want to say something, add
Yeah,
something over
sorry.
there? Yeah.
Thank you, Vinita, for joining us. And everybody, thank you so much for being in the space and listening to us patiently. It really means a lot. And Vinita, all your sayings, especially that horse wala story and everything, loved talking to you, loved interacting, especially uh, all these while and the army culture I got to learn about. It was so amazing. Thank you so much. I cannot thank you enough. Like,
Thank
really, thank you.
thank you for hosting us, me.
Acha, Vinita, so how was your experience? The first Twitter space that you did, how was your experience?
I love Kalyan.
Okay.
Uh, I got to know how I figured out the mic on this. Okay, so that was something good, and this was nice talk.
Mhm.
It's so nice that you don't know people have met them, but you're sharing ideas, and you're talking on the safe space. And I must appreciate the host and the co-host. You guys have conducted it so well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And Vinita, you also crossed 10 followers, so you are on 14 now. So congratulations on that as well. And I hope you will be more active on Twitter because people want to see more of Vinita.
I
Are you planning to be more active on Twitter?
Yes, yes, yes. I definitely am going to be more active. In fact, starting today, starting tomorrow, I shall start posting on Twitter too.
Perfect, perfect. Looking forward to that. And I think this was an amazing, amazing space. We all really enjoyed. Thank you. Special thanks to Shruti, Richa for being amazing co-host. Thank you, Vinita, for being there and answering all the questions amazingly from the discovery call we had to this part where we are saying goodbye to you. It was amazing to have you. Thank you
Thank you.
so much, Vinita.
Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and thanks for listening. We'll be back next Thursday with another amazing guest, and that's it. So I'm saying bye bye to everyone. So it's 3, 2, 1, bye.
Thank you for listening to us, and if you want to participate in live spaces, just follow our Twitter handles. हम ऐसे spaces हर हफ्ते करते हैं, and अगर आपको ये पसंद आया तो follow करना हमको and share this podcast. Thank you so much and see you next week. Bye bye.